game one is in the books, officially in the books. Um, I want to dive into this video. I'm gonna get into the details, into the nitty gritty. Um, Man, this was a tough one because it was one of those games where if Cade has even just an average game, Pistons are probably up 1-0 in this playoff series. They did so many things right, and they actually got extra production in areas that they probably didn't account for. I don't think anybody thought Tobias Harris was going to drop 25 points and lead them in scoring in the first game. But I'm going to dive into a lot of these things in this video. I'm going to wait for some more people to get into the chat. Um, those of y'all who are in my live feeds, you already know it's an interactive chat. So you throw stuff in the chat box, we're going to chop it up about it. But this was a good game. It's a good game. Uh, I didn't get to watch it live in real time. I was watching that movie, the new Michael B. Jordan movie by Ryan Coogler, Sinners. Crazy good, bro. Crazy good. I'm talking about standing ovation at the end. It was all of that. Like, all of that, for real. Like, it was an amazing movie. It was an amazing movie. Like, it took me like an hour and a half afterwards to like finish like processing everything that he was dropping in that movie, and just the visual effects was incredible. Um, the character development, the lines, and Ryan Coogler apparently wrote and directed this movie. It was a masterpiece. It was a masterpiece. Um, yeah, yeah, it was a masterpiece. All that's to say is I didn't get to watch the Pistons game live, and it was worth it. It was worth it. But I did come back. When I got back home, I sat down, I got my notes ready, and I watched it. I did my rewinds. I did my you know, follow through and check up on different notes, if what I was seeing was really what was taking place. And I think that by the time I got to the end of this game, I said, I'm okay with this loss. And I think that that's probably the biggest point to make about this loss. 10-point loss in a game that they, for the most part, were in control almost the whole game, despite Cade Cunningham having a horrible game. I don't know if it's the worst game of his career. I can't think back that far. He's had some stinkers, where he's had a lot of turnovers, and he had a lot of turnovers in this game. But I think this was the first game where he struggled to score, and there were a few times where he missed some bunnies, but they were making it hard on him the whole game. And I want to dive into that. But first, let me just start off with we should be encouraged. I think the Pistons got their jitters out from that first quarter, and then by the time that it got into the second half, you saw guys starting to figure it out. Asara Thompson turned on the Jets, finally got out in transition, and he was able to really just show that when he's speeding up the game, the Knicks have absolutely nothing for him. They've got nothing to stop this Pistons team when they get downhill in transition. The thing is, it shouldn't have taken them that long to really start pressing the issue. Um, I would say that one of the biggest adjustments has to be the Pistons have to push pace even after made shots. And that means everyone has got to run down the court. I think there was a play where Sarah Thompson was trying to quicken the pace. It was like less than 2 minutes to go. He's sprinting down the court, and him and Dennis Schroeder starting off at the same time. You could tell that Asar is sprinting, and then Dennis Schroeder was jogging behind him, searching for Jerry Garcia. It was good, my man. Knicks playoff experience came in. It did. It did. But if you think about it, they almost lost to the Pistons despite that experience, despite it. So if I'm the New York Knicks, I don't feel good about this win. Karl Anthony Towns had to shoot lights out. Cameron Payne had to give me the playoff game of his career. Jalen Brunson had an ugly 34 points. He was foul baiting. He was flopping nonstop. It looked terrible, just aesthetically. Aesthetically, his foul baiting looked bad, and I think it threw the Knicks out of their offensive flow, falling on the ground, falling over himself, um, taking forever to get the offense initiated. A lot of that was him trying to get himself going because he could not beat Asar, and I think that the refs are going to look at that, and he may get even less calls next game because there were a couple of calls that Asar got called on that weren't necessarily playoff fouls. They were like, you're bailing out Brunson. And I get he was an all star, but at this point, it just looks so overwhelming with his foul baiting. It just looked overwhelming. And so if I'm the Knicks, I don't feel good about this win. It's a win is a win. Is a win is a win. You need to get to 4 before the other team does, and they've got 1, 3 to go. But if you're the Pistons, you should feel good. You should feel good. This was a horrible game by Cade Cunningham. Probably one of his worst. He probably won't ever forget this game. I would not be shocked if he blows the doors off the hinges in game 2. I would not be shocked if we're not looking at a 30 to 40 point game from Cade Cunningham in game 2. He's got to be sick with himself. Like, Tobias Harris gave me 25. I got another, 21 or 22 from Tim Hardaway Jr. and Malik Beasley. Or I think it was 19 for Tim Hardaway Jr. and 20 something, 21 or 22 from Malik Beasley. If you get those types of numbers from those three, all Cade has to do is have a seasonal average game, even if it's not on the best efficiency. Just get to your averages, and he wasn't able to. Now, the first thing I want to note is I think the reason why he wasn't able to get to those averages is because he had the wrong strategy. And I think that this was a wake up call for Cade Cunningham. And I've said this before, the best scorers know how to operate surgically. Surgically. You watch SGA, you watch Luca, you watch LeBron, you watch some of these high level scorers. They're surgical. They know exactly what they're trying to do. They know where they're trying to go. They know how they're trying to get there. They know how they're going to attack what type of defender. And this is the point of emphasis. Cade, it took him most of the game to realize, and I don't even know if he necessarily turned the switch as much as just the moment called for having to increase the pace. But he was slow to get into the offense. And he tried to play bully ball with the Knicks. He tried to play bully ball, and that played right into the Knicks' hand. Trying to post up OG Anunoby is not a good strategy. He is 6'7", 240 pounds with a 7'2" wingspan. Cade Cunningham is not too far behind him. He's about 6'7", with about 230 pounds, 6'11" wingspan, 7-foot wingspan, something like that. But OG Anunoby's lower body strength allows him to play physical with Cade Cunningham in a way that few other defenders out there can. Trying to bully him, one, it was ineffective. But secondly, him turning his back to the basket allowed the Knicks to send double teams quickly. Now, here's the thing. He made some good reads in the first half. He was making some really good reads in the first half. However, one of the things that I've said repeatedly about Cade Cunningham's game, not only does he have to be surgical and know how to attack defenders, but he's best when he is moving with pace, when he's speeding the game up and he's getting downhill. When he's getting downhill, there's nothing they can do with him. There's nothing they can do with him. He's not a James Harden where he has a a really quick, fast twitch type of explosiveness. So when he slows the game down like that, it actually plays into the hands of guys like Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby. The point I'm trying to make is he wasn't utilizing the strategy that he's learned throughout the season to be effective. And sometimes you get that fool's gold where you think that the team that you saw in the regular season is the team that you're going to see in the playoffs. And that's not the case. I told you guys, Mitchell Robinson was going to have a big impact in this series because of his size, his length, his athleticism, his ability to cover the floor. Having that type of defensive center behind you makes a big difference. What I didn't foresee is that Mitchell Robinson was going to outplay Isaiah Stewart. I didn't quite see that. But as to say, Cade, later on in the game, when he began to speed things up, you saw he was able to get downhill to the basket. The first thing that the Detroit Pistons have to fix is they have to push the pace of the game. Even on a made basket, they've got to get that ball inbounded and up the court. Guys have got to be sprinting into the corner, and they've got to force the defense to get back and stay on their heels. Does a Thompson have AD? Does Asar Thompson have ADD? He did so many weak things. Couldn't finish at the rim. Lost focus. Get back cut. Just seemed like a very low IQ player and athletic ability. But I don't know about Asar. Dwayne Pritchett, I would have to say I kind of disagree. I kind of disagree. I think that Asar Thompson, here's the thing. Asar Thompson did not get a full off season to work on his game. So there's certain things that he, skill wise, he just hasn't developed yet. He hasn't refined. And it's things that he probably would have worked on in the off season, like finishing around the rim. That's one thing that you've seen repeatedly about Asar Thompson. He'll have glimpses of being able to do it, but then you go to the next game and then he forgets about it. But then he shows you something else that he can do. But in the next game, he forgets about that, or you just don't see that consistency and carryover in the skill that he shows you he has from one game to the next. What I saw here was he didn't know what to do. In that moment, there was about at least 2 to 3 times, I want to say about 3 times, he was found under the basket. They gave him the ball. And by the time he catches and gathers, one, instead of going quickly straight up and using the glass and using an angle that doesn't allow the center to get to the ball, he pauses and checks. No, no, you can't do that in the playoffs. The big men are coming hard to cover the rim. Secondly, he didn't have a move. He didn't have any type of move to try to score over Karl Anthony Towns. He has the ability to score over Karl Anthony Towns. He has the athleticism, he has the strength, he has the quickness, he has the length. He just didn't know what to do. You didn't see him one time try to execute a move, whether it's a drop step, crab dribble, put your shoulder into him, try to get him under the rim, which he kind of already is, create space for yourself, and then go up. He didn't do anything. He just caught the ball, froze, and then looked to pass either to Duran or to someone else or to kick it out. That shows me that he just didn't know how to process that moment. His feel has been really good. I appreciated his game. He was probably at times one of our better players on the court. There was a stretch where you saw that he was accelerating the pace and he was completely catching the Knicks off guard. When he uses that speed and transition, it was something that, to come back to Cade Cunningham on this, Cade accelerates the pace, sees Asar Thompson on the break, gives him the ball. Asar Thompson flies down the court, is able to make a move and score at the rim. The very next play, Cade gets the ball, doesn't give Asar Thompson in the same exact situation. Let's see, Dwayne Pritchett, what'd you say? You criticize the Knicks. How many people on the Pistons can you trust? Jalen Duren, Asar Thompson, Ron Hall, and low IQ players. I'm about to get to all of that. I'm about to get to all of that. Here's the thing with the young guys, and this was a significant point that I wanted to point out. They had jitters. They had jitters. They had nerves. They had playoff nerves. The Detroit Pistons, young guys, had playoff nerves. Cade Cunningham, first and foremost. It was his first playoff game ever. Asar Thompson, Jalen Duren. Jalen Duren shot 3 of 4 for this game. There's absolutely no reason why Jalen Duren should end a game where he gets about 30 minutes on 3 of 4 shooting, especially when Isaiah Stewart is out. There's absolutely no reason he should end the game in that situation. He's the type of player that if he gets the ball at the top of the key and they're overplaying Cade Cunningham, which they were, and they're sticking to those shooters, the middle of the court is wide open. You have the ability to take Karl Anthony Towns off the bounce every single time. And yet he only did it once. Jitters, deferring, kind of playing passive, staying within yourself. And the reality is, and I said this at the beginning, I'm not mad at that. If I'm the Pistons staff, I look at this game, this was not our best game, and yet we played very well and barely lost by 10. You might say, how do you barely lose by 10? Because it was really a 6-point game. And then they hit some free throws, and that was it. But you barely lose by 6 to 10 points, and your best player, your all NBA player, your all-star has one of the worst games all year. This game was there for the taking. If they don't turn the ball over, if they don't get into that turn, if they don't turn the ball over on the inbounds pass to start the fourth quarter, and then the 24-second violation right after that, if they don't have that type of sequence, I don't even think the Knicks go on that type of roll, right? And this is something that you have to look at it contextually in terms of the full game, not just the moments, not just the moments. Low IQ, I don't know if they're low IQ. There are moments where they had bad fouls, right? Asar Thompson pressing up on Jalen Duren 90-something feet. You know he's foul hunting. He's foul baiting. He's flopping at every turn. If you get Jalen Brunson to catch the ball and he does this tuck move and he drops down, he's doing this, you've already won. You've already won as the defender. You've done your job. You have stopped their momentum. You are slowing down their pace. You're allowing all your teammates to get back and get into position, get set up so you can run your defensive scheme, put them in a bad position. Now Jalen Duren is going to be walking the ball up, going side to side. You're turning him 3-4 times. You've done your job. You don't have to steal it from him. You don't have to ride him the whole way. I know you're quicker than him. I know you are. But that was a situation where it wasn't necessary. And it cost you a foul in that first half and limited your minutes. So I don't think that they're low IQ players as much as it's just nerves. It's nerves. You're kind of like, I'm trying to figure this out. First time in the playoffs. I'm not mad if I'm the Pistons and we barely lose by 6 to 10 points. Jalen Duren, same thing, too passive, needed to be more aggressive offensively. But all in all, wasn't bad. He did a good job defending the rim. And it was a huge blow for us to lose Isaiah Stewart. You could tell he was hobbled early. He went for a block. I think he got the block. And then you saw that knee. That knee was troubling. That knee is concerning to me. And so if I'm the Pistons, I'm going to be honest with you. I may not play Isaiah Stewart in game 2. I may not play him in game 2. I might save him for game 3 and 4. I don't even know if I'd go with Paul Reed, if I'm honest with you. What I might do is just go small and put Asar Thompson at the 5 and see if I can get away with an Asar Thompson, Tobias Harris with Cade Cunningham type of a lineup and just increase the speed. Right? Like these are things that I think he might experiment with in game 2. Sports time. What are you talking about? Asar has a high IQ, just nervous. Thank you. I appreciate that. Asar Thompson, I think he's been renowned for having a great feel for the game. A great feel for the game. If I'm the New York Knicks, man, can you really count on Karl Anthony Towns shooting lights out like this again? I thought they did a really good job defensively on him. He just hit shots and he got going. I think some of those defensive 3 seconds gave him an opportunity to get to that free throw line and get himself going. I would have liked for the Detroit Pistons, this is a point schematic wise, I would have liked for the Detroit Pistons to have hunted Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson more. I think Cade Cunningham has to do a better job of rubbing shoulder to shoulder coming off of those screens so he can actually get OG Anunoby off of him. I think he left a little bit early and really just never used those screens. It wasn't until the second half that he did a better job of utilizing those screens. But the first half, he was just kind of going, and I think that he was a little bit overconfident. I think he might have been a little overconfident. Sports time. What was good? I hate how reactionary some people are. Yeah, some of it is valid, but this is a young team. They will learn from this completely, completely. I think you saw by the second half, guys were figuring it out and they were playing. Like let's please keep in mind, it took a disastrous into the third, into the fourth quarter, where they had mad turnovers back to back to allow the Knicks to go on a run. And the Knicks barely won by 6 to 10 points. I say 6 to 10 once again because it was only a 6 point game until they had a couple back to back free throws. You know, when they're playing the free throw game, trying to get an opportunity to win at the end. But it was really a 6 point game. If Cade Cunningham has a horrible game and you barely win by 6, I would be troubled with that. Is campaign going to give you that huge boost off the bench next time? I doubt it. I doubt it. Now, we can play that game. Who's going to step up? Who's not? I think at the end of the day, the Pistons have to be confident that they were in this game every step of the way. And then at a certain point, they took control of the game. They were able to hit more shots. I think if it wasn't for that sequence of bad turnovers, Jalen Brunson becomes the story of the game, and the Knicks probably lose because Jalen Brunson was horrible in this game. I said it before, all that foul baiting, all that flopping, it looks so ugly. It looks so ugly. Not a New York Knicks fan can say anything about Trae Young. I haven't even seen Trae Young foul bait like this. Like I felt like it was a lack of pride and confidence to foul bait that much. Like it's like, oh, I suck. There's no other way I can do this. Like that's the type of thing that old school veterans do when they're playing against a young guy. Jalen Brunson's 30 years old. That shouldn't be that shouldn't be the case. Not in a playoff game. Hate how they ref this game. They didn't know if they could be physical or not, and they weren't calling it both ways. Yeah, it was weird. It was weird. It was weird. There were fouls that I think didn't go our way. But all in all, I think I was proud that Jalen Duren and Asar Thompson were able to figure it out. Were able to figure it out. Asar had maybe one or two bad fouls. Jalen Duren had one or two bad fouls. Um, but they weren't completely horrible and they didn't compound it. And that's what I'm grateful about. I kind of wish Jalen Duren had played a little bit more. I would have wanted him to play a little bit more aggressively. And he started to kind of get himself going. Um, I think you heard one of the commentators say Jalen Duren has to keep moving, has to keep moving. Set the screen, roll to the basket, keep moving, keep moving. Don't stand still. And I think that this is another point in which the Pistons can make an adjustment. Um, Other guys have to be anticipating that double coming to Cade, and they have to move off ball. They have to move off ball to get into open spots. They can't just stand there and hope that Cade can figure out that double team and make the pass. Because if we're honest, he struggles with that. But this is why we grab Dennis Schroeder. This is why we have Point Asar Thompson. This is something that I think definitely needs to change. That Cade Cunningham, look, I need you off ball more. Like if you get a rebound, definitely take off, go. Um, but I would like for you to allow other guys to run the point. This prevents them from being able to trap you at half court, force you into trying to make reads out of a double team early in our offense. Get off ball. Another thing is when you're off ball, wait for your screen. Get lower, closer to that baseline, beneath the free throw line, and wait for that screen to come. And then get that screen coming to the ball to where you can still catch it by the time you get to that 14 to 16-foot area around the elbow of the free throw line. Instead of not using a screen and trying to just get open, and then you don't catch the ball all the way until you're at the 3-point line. Like there were certain things that it's just like, oh, I need to recognize how to play this. I need to wait for my screen. Another thing I would have liked to have seen more of is pick and roll. I would have definitely liked to see more pick and roll, especially with Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duren, or Cade Cunningham and Dennis Schroeder, or whoever Jalen Brunson is playing. I think in game two they should be hunting those two the entire time. The entire time they need to be trying to force them to play defense every single possession. Don't just go at OG. Look, Cade, I know when you got it rolling and you're doing your thing, you can score against anybody. I get it. But you don't play into the hands of the defense. You don't play into their strengths, especially if you're struggling. And when you're at your best, you're not just trying to attack every single time. You're really playing in the flow of the offense and what is being offered. And I think that this is where you could make some small adjustments. And I think that JB will. Once again, I'm not super concerned if I'm the Pistons. There's so much room for improvement. Now you've got the jitters out. Guys know where they're going to be. They're going to be doubling and trapping Cade as much as possible, which means the veterans are going to get wide open shots, which did an excellent job of knocking them down. Um, Cade, you just got to do a better job of taking care of the ball, but usually that bodes well for you when you push tempo, not when you walk the ball up. When you walk the ball up, they try to trap you at the half court line and turn you over, and that's what they did. Now, a couple other notes that I wanted to point out. Yeah, veterans stepped up big time. Cade just had a terrible game. Asar looked great pushing tempo. I kind of wish that Ron Holland would have gotten a little bit more minutes because he played really good. I thought he played really, really well. Um, Avery Whiteside. The Knicks didn't beat us. We beat ourselves. We will be better next game. Asar needs to relax. I completely agree, bro. I completely agree. I completely agree. The Pistons beat themselves. They played a style that it wasn't their style. They didn't push tempo. They weren't getting up the court, make sure the Knicks were on their heels, taking advantage of their lack of athleticism on the perimeter. And they walked it up almost every single time, allowing the Knicks to set up in their defense. And that played right into their scheme. Now, I know they're being extremely physical with Cade, but here's the thing. This is where Jalen Duren, I think, he has to he has to read the game a little bit better. Instead of forcing a dribble handoff to Cade Cunningham at 35, 40 feet from the basket, if they're going to guard him that close, you need to wheel around and attack the rim. Get downhill. They're not going to leave the shooters. They're not leaving Malik Beasley. They're not leaving Tim Hardaway Jr. At this point, they know they can't leave Tobias Harris, who just shot 4 or 5 from three. You have the ability to score on Karl Anthony Towns all day. I need to see you attacking consistently. Force the defense to pay attention to you. And I know it might be something that we haven't really seen a lot from Jalen Duren, but I think it's extremely important that guys play a game that allows them to exploit what the defense is providing them instead of trying to force the ball to Cade, especially when he's struggling. Now, I know also we want to get them going, right? We want to get Cade going. We needed to get him going. And he just didn't have it. He didn't have it. He was missing shots, shots that we know that he can make. He's showing that he's a bit of a rhythm player, and he wasn't able to get into his rhythm. And so this was a wake up call for Cade. This was a rude awakening. It was a moment where he was just like, oh shit, this is different. This is different. The intensity, the intentionality, the focus of the defense, the scheming and strategizing of the defense. It was just something that he wasn't ready for, and I don't think it wasn't something that the coaches didn't prepare him for. But you don't really know it until you're really in there, and I think he got frustrated. Um, he got upset about the calls, the foul call situation, and I get that too, because OG was playing him rough, physical, you know? And I think that there's more, and I know that Cade hates foul baiting. He does. And there's also something to when guys are actually hacking you. And I think that JB Bickerstaff is going to make a point to the referee association. Yo, they was hacking the shit out of Cade. He's an all NBA player. He deserves more respect than that. You can't allow them to just go out there and manhandle him, especially when it's actual calls, slapping across the arms, hitting him on the way up, trying to score. It was a really rough officiating game in terms of how they officiated Cade Cunningham. Sports time. How confident are you that JB makes competent adjustments next game? Scale of 1 to 10. I say 8, off top, an 8, an 8. I'm not even because the adjustments aren't that big. The adjustments needed were less about something outside of the Pistons and more so inside of what they've already been doing all season. I already mentioned it over and over, push pace. Even on made baskets, they have to accelerate up the court. There was a time when Asar accelerated up the court. Him and Schroeder started off in the same place. Asar got the ball, sped up, and Dennis Schroeder was like jogging behind him. And then he turns, thinking Schroeder's running with him. There's a gap in the defense that's right there. If he's there, he's got a straight line path for a layup. Instead, he's way behind the play, watching Asar instead of running with him. This is a simple adjustment. Push pace. Push pace. One of the other adjustments is attack their two stars. Jalen Duren, Karl-Anthony Towns are their worst defenders. You've got to figure out a way to attack them, including them in almost every single play. Mike Hill was good, my man. Coming to this series, I was worried how Cade would react to being double teamed and pressured from tip off to the end of regulation. But you know what? It's not the first time. Indiana did them like that too, remember? There was a bunch of teams when they have the ability to do it, or even just decide, like, lock in, this is what we're going to do. We're going to double and trap him over and over. He's seen it before. He's seen it, but how we dealt with that was moving him off the ball, right? So these are things that the Pistons have already done before. This isn't like a brand new, scenario where, like, oh shoot, can JB figure it out? We've already figured this out. Cade just didn't. He didn't figure it out. He didn't adjust. He wasn't able to increase his intensity with his awareness and feel to make the right plays in that second half. He just didn't. And I talked about that at the beginning of this video. He didn't recognize he needed to push pace. He shouldn't be trying to do bully ball against OG Anunoby. He needs to hunt Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns and be patient. Instead of trying to go one-on-one against these guys, bring them into the action. Bring their weaker defenders into the action. Create opportunities through the attention that they're giving you, but with defenders who aren't able to make the plays. Right? Mitchell Robinson, he's going to be able to make the play. Don't run pick and roll with Duren when you have Mitchell Robinson, because that trap is going to be 10 times tougher. But if they got Karl-Anthony Towns, hell yes. Another thing is they can sprint to set that high pick. When you sprint to set that high pick, you catch the defense off guard. And what that does is it leaves a gap between the screen setter and their defender. And when they set the screen on your man, on Cade Cunningham's man, then you're able to come off of that screen. And now you're open. There's an open gap that allows for Jalen Duren to run, to roll to the rim. You could drop it off, and he has the opportunity to get a wide open layup or dunk, or you can slither between them. But if you come up slowly and you allow that defender to come with them, when they trap right off of the screen, Cade is immediately smothered. He is immediately smothered. And so that's another simple adjustment, but it's stuff that they've already done in the past. That's why if I'm the Pistons, I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. Now, another thing, let me get to this comment here. Chiefy Holiday. They played a pretty good game. Asar Thompson and Duren can't pick up those ticky-tack facts. Cannot pick up those fouls. Cade, I thought, played decent. Just needs to turn his aggression level up a notch. Yes, and that's what I mean by pushing pace. If Asar started off the game really well. Like, Asar had some really good spurts if you watch this game, he had some really good spurts in this game. He was able to impose himself athletically. He moved well off the ball. He had a great spin move. He posted up Brunson a couple times, and we didn't see that in the second half, which I hope that we are a little bit more intentional. And this is, excuse me, this is where Cade Cunningham is extremely skilled. I just don't know if he's a floor general. He can play point guard. I don't know if he's a floor general. And the difference of that is where you recognize what is working for you and what's not, and how to get your team set up into what's working. If you know that you don't have it going, but we've been successful posting up against the mismatches. Sports time, yeah, that was a good mismatch. And you see Jalen Brunson trying to guard Asar Thompson in the post. Bro, just go right to it. Just go right to it. You see how Jalen Brunson would hunt Beasley or Tobias. He would wait to get Asar off him on the switch. Facts. 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 And this is a veteran understanding the game. Understanding the game. Now I said this was an ugly game from Brunson. If they don't have that stretch of turnovers, I think that they probably lose. I think the Knicks probably lose. And we're talking about how bad Jalen Brunson looked. Dwayne Pritchard was good, my man. This is when your coach makes your job easier. JB has to run better sets for Cade. True, true. Don't have to try to play one-on-one. Cade has a run faster, stop trotting. Yeah, so much. Run harder on defense and offense. Facts. I completely agree. Completely agree. But that's all very doable. Like it's not a huge adjustment. It's not a huge adjustment. You just gotta remind them and like, yo, hey, you are bringing the ball up slowly against a physical but slow team. If you play slow, you play into their hands. You're not utilizing your greatest advantage, which is your speed. When you come downhill at OG Anunoby, he can't do anything with Cade. But if Cade sits there in front of OG Anunoby and tries to do this little shake, little in and out, doing all this stuff, I mean, some of it was jitters. He mishandled. I think that's just playoff jitters, first time. But doing all that in front of him plays into OG Anunoby's hands, plays into Mikal Bridges' hands, plays into Josh Hart's hands. It allows the defense to see you coming. Versus when you're coming across that half court line and you're almost at a run. You're almost at a run. So I think this is a game that they're gonna look at and be like, damn, we had it. We had this game. We were right. We were right there. And so I'm excited about game two. I'm excited about game two. Sports time. I like how positive and realistic you are. Yeah, facts. Facts. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Smash the like button for me too. Chiefy Holiday, I would like to see Asar Thompson guard OG a little more because he kind of got loose. He did kind of get loose. I like that Dennis played Brunson as well. I'm going to be honest. OG Anunoby's not going to get loose like that again. That's a reality. I don't think anybody's betting on OG Anunoby having another big game like that. I don't even think that we're betting on Karl-Anthony Towns having a big game like that. Karl-Anthony Towns, this game was an aberration. That's not Towns. Towns in the playoffs can have good games, but he's not going to be lights out like this. And I think a lot of it was just tough shot making. Tough shot. And when you see it's tough shot making, you know that's generally not replicable to shoot it at that high of a clip. More than likely, if he has to take those same shots for the next 4, 5, 6 games, those averages are going to come back to normal. Somewhere around 40 to 50 something percent. It's a very different game. Can he repeat that type of a showing? Now, having Isaiah Stewart out, like I said before, I think the Pistons end up sitting him for game 2. He was dealing with the knee already. He barely jumped a few times in this first game. And damn, you saw he was limping. He was holding. It just didn't look good. And here's the thing. Don't sacrifice Stewart for this playoff run and then not have him for next year. The last thing you need is for him to hurt his knee, knock on wood, right? And then he's out for 6 months next year, 8 months next year, right? So, all in all, 100%. Um, I think the Pistons played a good game. They got a huge boost from their veterans. Huge boost from their veterans. Mike Hill was good, my man. You're right. He's definitely seen intense defenses this year from teams like Indiana. Yeah, he's seen this before. Cade Cunningham has seen this before. So this isn't this. I don't think this was about uh, Cade moving off the ball would shake things up in a good way. Facts. Yes. If Cade Cunningham is our main scorer, he needs to be off the ball. Let Asar run the point, which he looked good, and Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder, I think he could have did more pick and roll. I think he could have got into the pick and roll. I think he was a bit hesitant in this game. I think the Pistons did a good job of spacing. Um, the New York Knicks played extremely hard, but this is what I said early. The Pistons needed to play with pace so that, dude, your cope is hilarious. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. But for real though, what was I saying? Shit, lost my point, bro. Damn. I try to be on the comments. I try to be on the comments and roll with y'all. Um, oh, Dennis Schroeder, pick and roll. Dennis Schroeder, I think that he could have got into the action more. He was playing slower than he should have been as well. Completely. Bringing the ball up slowly in the half court. I think that was ineffective when he was speeding up the pace and the tempo, going right to the action, going downhill instead of trying to play with the ball. He looked really good. Looked really good. I think we're gonna need a big game from Jalen Duren in game two. I want to see him play about 35 minutes, if not 40 minutes. Stay out of foul trouble, get on the boards, be aggressive, be a factor. Frankie Blanco. So now they want to hang on Cunningham, not his usual, and that's the reason why they lost. So have you not mentioned all those turnovers, bro? You gotta take your time. Right, I'm gonna read your chat message, bro. Just take your time and write. I don't even know if you want knowing what you're saying, man. I don't even know what you're saying at all. um, but no, I did mention Cade Cunningham's turnovers at the beginning of the slide. And this was just an ugly game for him. This was one of his worst games of the year. Um, but I don't think that he's gonna do that again. I don't think that that's a game two, game three, game four type of situation where he's got 6 turnovers. I think that they push tempo. I think they increase the pace, and that's going to nullify a lot of that trapping. I think it's also going to catch OG Anunoby on his heels. And at the end of the day, he had a horrible game, and they only lost by 6 to 10 points. Under a minute to go, it was a 6 point game. And you let them go on like a 20 to something run. You don't have those turnovers. This is a completely different game. But I think you're missing the balance of what a high volume player can do to the rest of the squad. I mean, here's the thing. The first half of the game, he was making all the right reads. Was he not? Was Cade not making all the right reads in the first half? He had like almost 10 assists in the first half. And we was beating the Knicks. Going to that third quarter, beating the Knicks. It's not until the end, going into the fourth quarter, that we started turning the ball over, and then they caught up and then surpassed us. And then they were able to hang on to the lead. That's really what it was. The Knicks dodged one. The Knicks dodged one. He was doing great with what they were giving him. Sports time. Yeah, for sure. For sure. He did a great job reading the game in the first half. And then I think he tried to force the issue a little bit too much. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. No, completely true. Completely true. It's how you finish. And I think that these are the types of games that, to great players, and I do think that Cade Cunningham is becoming a great player. These are the type of games that haunt you. These are the type of games that when you have these types of games, you come back incredibly focused. I'm expecting a 30 to 40 point game from Cade Cunningham next game. Yeah, facts. Cade's gonna go crazy in the Garden in game two. Chiefy Holiday, I agree with both of those statements. Towns was throwing up some trash too, low key. Duran wasn't locked in. Duran was playing passive. He was playing passive. Yeah, I can see a 30 piece from Cade as well. Frankie, in playoff basketball, there's always how you put your team away. Playing at the Garden is a different animal. But here's the thing: Cade already put the Knicks away before at the Garden. Did he not? Against Brunson, and Brunson was having a good game in that game. I know it's different in the playoffs, but we know Cade can do it. Cade has shown that he's that dude. He's better than Jalen Brunson. Let's be clear. Let's be clear on that. He is the best player on the court. Even having a horrible game. Having a horrible game, he still left his imprint all over the game. For better or for worse. But these are those simple adjustments. These are simple adjustments. Push pace. You don't allow them to double team. Let other guys run the point, Asar and Dennis Schroeder, because they do a good job of making sure that ball gets moving and it's not just one guy bringing the ball up and taking a shot or turning it over. Right? So I'm not worried about Cade not figuring this out. No, not in the playoffs. Cade still has not shown how to put away a home team in the playoffs. And we saying he's the better player. Man, bro, if you watch this game, if you watch, did you watch the game? Did you see what I saw? I saw Jalen Brunson look like everything we've ever critiqued about who Jalen Brunson is. And why, no matter how good he is, we go, I don't know. I don't know. What happens when he can't get those foul calls that he's baiting, that he's flopping for? That looked absolutely horrible. That's some of the worst basketball I've seen. And it was Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns. You know, like, I don't know if Karl-Anthony Towns is rubbing off on Jalen Brunson. That would be horrible. But that was some sucker shit. That was some, like, for real, like after a while you're like, bro, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing? You weird, bro. You're not even trying to play basketball. You're not trying to score. You're trying to hit somebody and then flail and hope to get a foul call. Like, that's become your new focus. And I think it was taking the Knicks out of their offense. But in reality, maybe the Knicks don't have that much offense. Maybe they don't have that much offense. How many fourth quarter points did Cade versus Brunson have? This is playoff basketball, my bro. Brunson about to average 30. Did you see the game? Tell me that wasn't one of the ugliest 30-something points. He got to 34. I'll give you that. He got to 34 points. And it was ugly as hell. If they don't have those turnovers, if they don't have that stretch, that little 6 to 8 minute stretch at the end of the third into the fourth quarter, if they don't have that stretch, I think the Pistons win this game with a bad game from Cade Cunningham. And I think Brunson, if you look, he only shot, what? It was less than 40% from the field. You just don't look at that because, oh, he got to 34 points. He got to his numbers. But if they don't have that stretch and those turnovers, he doesn't get those 3 or 4 breakaway layups that allow him to improve that percentage. He doesn't get himself going that allowed him to then hit a couple baskets. If we're honest, he looked like he was outmatched by Asar Thompson. Go back and watch. Go back and watch. Jalen Brunson looked outmatched by Asar Thompson. Straight up. Straight up. Sports time. I like comparing people's post-game analysis because some people are super critical but not as knowledgeable, and others are critical but see the game at a whole other level. Yeah, the flopping is out of control, bro. It's amazing how confident some people are about knowing the game whole time. They don't really know much. It's like when you really watch the game. I mean, I've said this before a lot. I've coached, I've played. You know, I've watched this game. I love the NBA game. I don't watch high school, college. It's a different game. It's a different game. Sometimes I'll watch some international ball because there's a whole lot of NBA players over there hooping. You know, Jabari Parker, Jaleel Okafor. Like you got some dudes that are known over there hooping, and it's fun to watch. But this game, this NBA game, I've been watching since I'm like 12, and when I say watching, I mean like watching, like learning, like studying. So the angles I'm coming at ain't something brand new. I'm not just talking for clickbait. Like I'm not here to get more subs. I appreciate the subscription. Hey, if you subscribe, I appreciate you. But I'm not here for that. I'm here to just talk hoop. You know what I mean? And talk with folks who like to talk about it. Brunson was like 3 for 14 or something like that before he got himself going. Facts. It was ugly. Can't say if they don't have that stretch, because you can literally say that about any turn, in any run that Detroit Pistons had in the playoffs. It is all about runs and your team being able to stop and contain it. Yeah, but explain to me his shooting percentage. Explain to me Jalen Brunson's shooting percentage. It was horrible. It was terrible. And before that point, at the end of the third into the fourth quarter, what was he shooting? It was even worse. It was probably 20 something percent from the field. All right. I have more confidence in Cade Cunningham figuring it out than all of a sudden Jalen Brunson being able to figure out Asar Thompson. If he can't get those fouls on Asar, I don't think he can score on Asar. I don't think he can score on Asar Thompson. All he can do is either get a screen to get him off of him, wait for a switch to take place in transition, or foul bait. That's it. That's all he can do with Asar. He does not have a game style to beat Asar Thompson. Yeah, Brunson was shit in the bed for nearly 3 quarters and turn it on when he was supposed to. Sure, but how did he turn it on? That is what superstars are supposed to do in the playoffs. Facts. Facts. And I think Cade Cunningham can learn from Jalen Brunson. I think he can learn from Jalen Brunson in terms of how do you figure out how to get there? Your team needs 30 plus points from you. The Knicks don't win if Jalen Brunson doesn't get over 30 points. Not against the Pistons. Not in this game. They got there, and Jalen Brunson figured out how to do so. He worked the transition game. If there was a chance to run, he was the first one out there, sprinting down the court. Give me the ball. Let me get myself going. Then he took advantage of any mismatch. Anytime he had a mismatch, he was hunting mismatches. He couldn't wait to get Tim Hardaway Jr. or Malik Beasley or even Dennis Schroeder on him. He knew the matchups he had to be aggressive against. Cade was not that intentional. And that was a point I made earlier. He's got to be more surgical. Yes, the Knicks still won with Brunson hobbling. 21-0 run is not an aberration, my brother. That was literally Knicks brand of basketball on full display. Sure, maybe. Sure. I'm not taking nothing away from the Knicks. I'm saying that the Pistons have seen this before and they know how to beat it. They know how to beat it. They've shown over the course of the season that they have figured out how to beat that type of trapping, aggressive play against Cade. Dwayne Pritchard, 21-0 run is nothing to sneeze at. Did they find a weakness in us? Is Tobias Harris going to shoot like that every night? I don't think Tobias Harris shoots that well every night. And I don't think he has to. He just has to shoot solid, well enough. He's got to continue to be consistent. He doesn't have to be great, but consistent. Because if Jalen Duren shoots more than 4 times in this game, let's say he gets to at least 10 times, he probably it ends up shooting 8 for 10 in this game. They had nothing under the basket to really slow him down. except when they went with those double bigs. But if it's just Towns, he's going to eat him up. But he wasn't as aggressive. He was feeling his way out, taking his time. It's his first playoff game. Cade Cunningham's first playoff game. Asar Thompson's first playoff games. And yet, Asar Thompson had some plays. Like when he posted up against Brunson, he had that little post, pivot, turn, quick jab to the right, hard plant, backspin, circle around him, finish for the lay-in, right over the top. The funny thing is, he probably doesn't even have to do all that. I'm trying to tell you, Asar Thompson is never going to be this bad, and he's already playing extremely well. When he gets a full off season to work on his game, you're going to see the post moves. You're going to see the interior finishing. You're going to see the improved at least 8 to 10 foot pull up jump shot that he showed you last year as a rookie. He's going to start showing you so much more. It just so happens that what he's doing right now is just flashes. It's flashes. And I still respect the flash. I don't think that the Knicks figured anything out against the Detroit Pistons. They've only done what other teams have done to be successful. And the Pistons have figured that out. Now, Isaiah Stewart's injury is going to hit. It's going to hit. And it may create opportunities to play more up-tempo. More than likely, I think Asar Thompson gets minutes at the 5. I don't think that they go with Paul Reed against Mitchell Robinson. That would not be a preferable lineup for me. I'd rather go with Ron Holland with some more minutes alongside Asar Thompson, and then maybe have Schroeder, Beasley, Holland, and then Tobias Harris or Cade Cunningham. That's what I would rather do. But we'll see. We'll see. But hey, it's coming up on that hour. Appreciate y'all jumping in on this live. Smash the like button for me if you enjoyed the interactive live video. Let me know in the comment section after this post if you want to continue showing up. What I can do is maybe put some set times so y'all can time it and jump in, because it's fun to go back and forth like this. But hey, I got one more comment. I'll try to get to it. Sports time. I looked at Asar rookie highlights and mid-range fadeaways, crazy dimes, and wonder why he went away from those things. Yeah, I think he just simplified his game, and he also didn't have an off season to work on it. Remember, he had the blood clots, so he was out from like March last year all the way through, I want to say, like November this past year. Right. So he didn't have an opportunity to really train and develop his game over an off season. And I think had he had that, he would have came in looking like what Amen Thompson is looking like. But either way, I think they make an adjustment. I think you see a game 2 in which they look that much better. I think they look much more effective. I think they push tempo. That's probably one of the major adjustments that I expect to see. And I might do a video later on why that's so important, to just kind of hammer that home, because I think that's probably like the centerpiece. But all in all, I enjoyed this live. I'm about to hop off, watch some anime, and go to sleep. I'm going to get at y'all next time. It's your man, 100 Grand, Ross with The Rock Never Stops. Smash the like button for me, hit subscribe and the bell for notifications so you know when I'm doing my next lives. And I'm going to get at y'all next time. Peace.